On this all-new episode of Retiring Well this week, we're going to be talking about a multitude of different topics, and I'm excited to bring you these 4 great main topics. First, your guide to retirement planning. What are some quick things that you can be doing today to help you plan for your long-term retirement? Then, Virgil is coming on the show and talking about employee wellness, financial wellness. If you are a business owner or a manager of people, your employees potentially could be stressed about money, and talking about these ways to cope with that and make sure you're getting the most productivity and helping that mental and financial wellness for each one of your employees. Then, should AI manage your portfolio? There's all this artificial intelligence out there, so much technology. Can it be an advantage or disadvantage to you when it comes to retirement or investment planning? And to wrap up the show, how to minimize taxes on taxable accounts. Are you getting hit with capital gains, interest, and all these other sort of taxes? Let's talk about ways to help minimize those for you so you can pay the IRS the least amount as possible. All of this and so much more coming up this week on Retiring Well.
Retiring Well, brought to you by Centennial Wealth Advisory, financial advisors specializing in retirement planning and serving all of Northern Michigan. Retiring Well, helping you plan for a successful and comfortable retirement. Retiring Well, plan to retire well.
A guide to your retirement planning. Let's talk about a few quick hitters here that anybody can do to start setting up a successful plan for their retirement. First, set goals for your retirement. Now we're assuming you haven't retired yet at this point. What are the 3 things that I want you to have in the goal? 1, what does retirement look like? This is maybe the most important thing. Retirement is different to every single person I've ever talked to. Their goals and aspirations and dreams look so different. Map that out. What do you want to be doing? Does retirement travel? Is it spending time with grandkids? Is it pursuing that hobby you've always wanted? Or maybe it's even working part-time in something you've always wanted to do. Again, what does that look like? Second piece, when? When are you going to retire? Is it in the next 6 months, 6 years, or 20 years? Make sure you kind of have a target there. And if you're getting close, pick a day, right? We need to have that certainty in place. And then once you kind of what it looks like and when, what do you think you're going to spend? What is that budget? Now, some people in retirement spend far less than when they're working. Others find that they spend more in retirement because now they have more time on their hands, right? So again, what does that look like? Okay, so that's the goal part. Then, now, what advantages? Let's start taking advantages of retirement planning tips and tricks a little bit here, if you will. Okay, 1, what tax bracket are you in right now? Do you know? Okay, if you don't, this is something you want to find out because this is going to dictate what retirement planning accounts you may want to use. We want to carefully examine where our taxes are now and what they look like in the future. How are we going to save the biggest amount that's going to benefit your retirement? Again, it might not be today. So often people want to defer, and then all of a sudden when we get into retirement, we're like, whoa, why did I defer all these years? Now I have to pay all these taxes. So again, part of this retirement plan is figuring out when to pay taxes on that, okay? Next, carefully consider your investment allocations. So again, going back, how far are you away from retirement right now? That's going to play a role in what investments we pick. Also, carefully examine what your personal risk tolerance is. Stop being told what your risk should be. Stop listening to your neighbors that say you should be invested in this. What is your risk comfort level? You're willing to lose X percent. We have some people that walk in and they say, Art, if I lose a penny, I'm coming in here with a baseball bat. Nah, they don't say that, but I get that idea, right? Where they don't want to lose anything more. There's investments out there that we can tailor for you for that. There's other folks that are okay with full risk exposure. It doesn't matter. What it matters is it's comfortable for you. Next, make savings automatic. If you haven't already done so, make sure you're taking advantage of your workplace retirement plans, 401ks, 403bs, 457s, whatever it may be, take advantage of that. Circling back to what I said earlier, taxes. Maybe you have a Roth component of that. Consider that option if it's appropriate from your tax standpoint. But make it automatic. Make it so that it's coming out no matter what, that you don't have to decide, oh, should I write a check this month to fund my retirement? Oftentimes, unfortunately, that's on people's last thing that they're doing because it may be so far down the road. If you don't have access to a workplace plan, or even if you do, consider adding your own personal IRA, personal Roth account if your income levels match that, and you can kind of double up and make that automatic where direct deposits are happening, every month or something along those lines. Again, now, use retirement planning to help you make financial decisions. So when you're making financial decisions today, make sure those are fitting into your retirement plan. How you're spending your money today, how is it impacting you? A bigger purchase today can kind of have a domino effect on your retirement over time. So making sure those are fitting in there. So security, when, how, and what does that look like? So start to think about this. Understand how Social Security credits work and how you're getting credits and benefits for those that are accumulated over the years. Double checking your statements every year to make sure those are the appropriate methods and such like that. So I hope you found those valuable, some little tips and tricks with your retirement planning guide so you can plan to retire well.
As you are planning for retirement, where's your journey taking you? Do you know where you are going? How are you going to get there? And what's the best route to take? Do you have a personal retirement roadmap? At Centennial Wealth Advisory, we specialize in retirement planning, and we have designed a complimentary retirement roadmap video series that can be customized based on your personal circumstance and preferences. There is no cost and no obligation. Simply go to cen-wealth.com/roadmap and provide us with some basic information that will guide you to your on-demand, customized retirement roadmap video. Planning is the first step to succeeding. Plan to retire well.
Everyone knows the BBB is the Better Business Bureau, but depending on what you need, it's the Better Plumber Bureau, the Better Auto Mechanic Bureau, the Better Accountant Bureau. That's because the BBB connects people with businesses they can trust. So think of the BBB as the better check that business out first so you don't get ripped off bureau. Be smart. Always look for the BBB seal because it's looking out for you. And find a better business anytime at bbb.org.
Financial worries are something that negatively impact families, and we've all had concerns about money. And if you also have had concerns about money, you're not alone. The American Psychological Association in November of 2023 said that 72% of Americans reported feeling stressed about money at least sometime in the prior month. Along with that, MarketWatch Guide's 2024 Financial Stress Survey revealed some eye-opening statistics. This said 65% of people say that finances are their biggest source of stress. 94% say they sacrifice their mental health to get by financially. And then 92% said financial stress caused adverse physical effects, including loss of sleep, headaches, along with other physical ailments. Financial fitness then obviously is directly correlated to your mental and physical well-being. At Centennial Wealth Advisor, we focus on financial education, and that's evidenced by the fact that we've been running our educational television program for well over a decade. Not only at Centennial Wealth Advisory do we focus on financial education, but we also put that into practice. In addition to retirement planning, we also offer tax planning, estate planning, 401k rollovers, Social Security planning, as well as insurance solutions including Medicare, health, and life insurance. We believe you can enter retirement with confidence that you and your family will be okay no matter what happens. Now, obviously, we've already discussed there's a lot of different ways finances can negatively impact both your physical, mental, and just overall well-being. But the good news is there are ways to reduce that stress. The first thing to think about is working on a budget, kind of understanding what you've got coming in, but also what you've got going out as far as your finances go. You need to know how much you earn, which most people do. The interesting thing is most people don't know how much they spend. They don't know their expenses on a monthly basis. They might know a couple of them, but they really don't have a good handle on exactly what they're spending on a monthly basis. So you need to come up with a good budget. And that would be the first thing to help you along this journey. The second thing is a financial plan. So a financial plan does a lot of different things. One, it provides a snapshot of where you're at now. It projects the goal for the future of where you want to get to, and really the way or the roadmap to get to that destination. I think a lot of it without a financial plan trying to reach your retirement goals is similar to trying to get to a destination you've never been to before without a map or a GPS. So the financial plan really provides that guidance to help you get to where you're trying to go. The third thing to think about is once you have a budget and a financial plan is to implement that plan. So questions you need to think about with regards to that is how much should you be investing on a monthly basis? And where should you be investing that money? Should that be in your 401k, your 403b, your IRA, brokerage account? You need to think through where this money is going to be invested to save for retirement. And trying to do this on your own can be quite a daunting task. And that is why at Centennial Wealth Advisory, we want to be able to come alongside you and help you on this journey towards retirement. I would like to take a moment now and speak directly to human resources managers and business owners. We here at Centennial Wealth Advisory offer a free educational workshop for your employees. This meeting would be held at your business, and we would provide food, whether it was held in the morning or the afternoon, and it really helps your employees have some of the questions that are bothering them answered. The financial concerns that they have right now obviously not only negatively impact their productivity at work, but more importantly, it impacts their overall quality of life. If you're interested in having us host one of these events or to find out more information, you can follow the instructions on the screen or call our office. For all the employees out there, if you think that this financial education workshop is something that sounds like it would be good for your company, please feel free to give that information to your HR director or your business owner at your place of employment. We look forward to helping you plan to retire well.
So Art Canfield and I grew up in Traverse City here together, about a mile down the road from each other.
John and I have been best buddies since we were in kindergarten.
Met each other in kindergarten at Glen Loomis Elementary.
I still remember one of the earliest memories of John and I connecting way back in our kindergarten class.
We always would have sort of a business mindset when we were trading our basketball cards and football cards of, okay, what's the value of this versus that?
We had all these dreams of playing in the NFL together.
He was the center on the football team. I was the quarterback.
I've been protecting him my whole life, and so now we get to do it in the business world.
With a low bass, here for the thrill, I don't need a chaser. Wanna vibe it to get away. Shimmy, shimmy, yeah,
each of us stood up in each other's weddings, and now we've enjoyed seeing our families grow together and spend time together.
Working with John and Art is awesome. The camaraderie that they have, the banter that you hear on a day-to-day basis is it's so much fun.
They're very authentic. These people are in it for the right reasons, and they're really genuinely doing what they can to help people. That, to me, makes all the difference, that I can feel good about the work that I do working with them.
Who they are as people, their values, they truly want to help people. That kind of permeates through the whole culture of our office.
Being so similar but different in certain ways is such an asset, not only for our team, but also for our clients, to be able to have, I think, our experience in valuing relationships so importantly.
Something that's so vital within business is having that trusting relationship. As Art and I have had that trust built over the past 35 plus years now, so we have that confidence knowing that if I'm not there to make a decision, you've got a business partner that you trust implicitly to make those decisions and not question at all what direction that he's going with it or the business is going. So it's just been sort of a dream to be able to work alongside your best friend.
Living life isn't always easy.
It puts up challenges and obstacles you'll have to overcome. There are responsibilities. You put in effort to provide and take care of your family, to save and invest, to balance work and life. Planning is the first step to succeeding. Plan to retire well.
Artificial intelligence, or AI, is something that we're starting to hear a lot about in the news and see a lot more in the financial world. I had an opportunity years ago when I was in college to do an internship with an investment firm out in New York City, where my job was building these quantitative models and starting to integrate AI into trading-based platforms, doing like pattern recognition. So we're going to spend the next hour talking about Fibonacci numbers and how those play in everything. Not really, but we are going to talk about how AI can impact your retirement, how it's currently used, and if you should be using it. Truth is, you probably already have this integrated in some piece of your life, so it's important to understand both the pros and also the cons and some of the limitations that come along with it. So AI, what it is it's usually helpful to look at multiple different scenarios, and it's very helpful in analyzing vast amounts of data. So when looking at retirement plans, the big challenge for us is, of course, we don't have a crystal ball. We can't predict the future. Well, AI allows us to run something called Monte Carlo simulations, where you can run literally thousands of different retirement plan scenarios, changing small things like our rate of return assumptions, maybe changing our inflation rates, maybe changing dates of death, long-term care costs, all of these different variables that would be very time-consuming to build out ourselves. It can run thousands of scenarios and do it instantly. So it's fantastic at analyzing just huge amounts of data and can really help us start to gauge and give ourselves a probability of success. From a user standpoint, that's extremely helpful because it gives us very quick action items. So as an example, if that probability of success is too low, well, maybe it's going to recommend us increasing our savings or changing where we're saving to help hedge against tax rates. It's going to give us very quick action ideas that we can go and implement right now. The great thing about AI is it's unbiased. It's looking at purely just the numbers. That's also the downfall, though, is it's losing that human element built into these scenarios. It's really a garbage in, garbage out type of situation. It's leaving all of the information on you to input it accurately into the system, and then it's going to spit out a result. You can make an argument that it is somewhat biased based on how the programmer has built that application, but overall, everything falls on you to get an accurate result by what you put into it. Now, that might be very helpful as a starting point, but we really sometimes want to think about, well, what are the what-if scenarios that also come along with that? So when we look at the AI systems, it's really focusing on that quantitative aspect. A huge part of retirement planning is that subjective piece, focusing with you on your values, your beliefs, your concerns. We can't really build that into a computer-based program, but we can have conversations with you and start to use that information in conjunction with AI to come to the right conclusions. So as an example, if I were to want to go onto an AI-based financial planning system and focus on college planning, I could put in, I want Hazel to go to Michigan State as an example. It's going to automatically calculate what Michigan State's tuition is going to be in, say, 10 years based on current tuition data using different inflation assumptions, and spit out a result and tell me, here's what I need to be saving today based on certain rate of return assumptions. But then it also goes a step farther and will tell you, well, based on your tax situation, here's a different tax account you could use. So it's great. It gave me how much I should be saving and where I should be saving it. However, it didn't ask me my values, my beliefs, those kind of second level questions. I might have concerns around, well, maybe Hazel decides she doesn't want to go to college, or maybe she's going to travel internationally or go to school abroad and those schools don't qualify under the 529 plans as an example. So when we're looking at those systems, it's great it gave us a starting point, but it's limited because it hasn't taken into account fully my family's values, our beliefs, and some of those other things that we might want to achieve and start to be working towards. So when we think about AI, the question is, should we be using it? In my opinion, yes, it should be part of your overall financial plan. However, you should be using it in conjunction with an experienced financial professional that can help tailor that result and really mold it to what you're trying to achieve and align with some of those bigger picture items outside of just giving you a savings or an allocation. It's important to remember AI is a tool, and when you think about if you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And when you're building a house, you want to have multiple tools that you can use for the job to really align everything with your big picture plan. So if you have questions on AI or concerns around how it impacts your overall financial plan, please reach out to us. We'd be happy to sit down to you and review the bigger picture and how these different tools can be used to help leverage your goals and put you in the best spot.
Life is a journey filled with uncertainties, especially when it comes to retirement. Sometimes a pitching change is just what you need. Our team at Centennial Wealth Advisory specializes in retirement planning, serving all of Northern Michigan, with offices in Traverse City, Gaylord, Petoskey, and Cadillac. We'll work with you on a holistic approach that includes income, investments, healthcare, taxes, and estate planning. Centennial Wealth Advisory. Plan to retire well. Click or call for a no-cost, no-obligation consultation.
Your grandchildren are precious to you. They are your life. This is your time to have that special relationship. Taking care of yourself is taking care of them. Centennial Wealth Advisory is offering a free, no-obligation retirement review to make sure you don't run out of money during your retirement. Centennial Wealth Advisory. Your best is yet to come.
Make the most of Social Security. Although Social Security isn't designed to cover all of your income needs, it's an important part of the retirement puzzle. Download our free booklet on the Social Security decisions at cen-wealth.com and learn how to optimize Social Security for your situation. Why timing is so important when it comes to your benefits, ways to supplement your Social Security, and more. There is no cost and no obligation. Simply go to cen-wealth.com, scroll down, and click the download link to get your free booklet on the Social Security decisions.
If you like watching Retiring Well, make sure to go to youtube.com/retiringwell and click the subscribe button to never miss any of our TV shows and other informative videos.
Hey, welcome to this segment on 8 ways to minimize your taxes in taxable investment accounts. These are typically going to be like brokerage accounts. Maybe you inherited one or maybe you even opened one up. What those look like is, I'm going to use, for my visual learners out there, I'm going to use this manipulative. So we buy a stock and it over time appreciates. What we're going to be talking about today is what are we going to do with that appreciated interest? Or sometimes it's a bad investment and there's a loss. There's silver lining on both sides of that coin. And so here's some strategies about how to minimize the taxes on the interest that you have. The first thing would be to understand the difference between the ordinary tax rates and the long-term capital gain tax rates. The first graphic that you're going to see up on your screen will have our ordinary income rates. And what they do is each level of income gets taxed at a different rate. You look, you can follow where you are, whether you're single, married filing jointly or separately, head of household, and so forth. And what you're going to see is it starts at 10%, and then you get to the next threshold, it goes to 12%, 22%, 24%, 32%, 35%, and 37%. So depending on how much income you're making, you'll just go up the bracket. On the other side, we're going to look at what the long-term capital gains rates are. Those have 3 different brackets I would like to highlight. They have 0% tax rate, 15% tax rate, and 20% tax rate. I hope your mind and your eyes were drawn to that 0% tax. That's what we want to try to hit. So how might we be able to do that? Let's first talk about some strategies. When you buy an asset in these taxable accounts and it makes money, if you sell that asset within a year, this money that you realize, that gain that you realize, is going to go over onto the ordinary income tax rate, the first chart that I was talking about. If you wait a year longer, if you hold the asset for at least a year, now this gain can go over to the better tax preferred rates of the long-term capital gains. So you wait 1 year, 1 day, we sell this, and now we have a different rate that this gets taxed at. The next thing that you could do is consider a buy and hold strategy. This is where you buy a stock or a bond and you hold it. The only time a taxable event happens is when you sell that position. So when you buy and hold and it's making money, great. We want to stay aware of what those gains are, but by understanding the two different rates that you could get taxed at, you now can control how you want to deal with that gain. And what if there's a loss? I just had a client come in and they had some bond strategies that were carrying losses. We sold those positions. We were able to realize a loss, and I'll talk to you more about that in a later strategy here. But it was very tax efficient for them. The next thing what happens when you're holding these stocks is that you might get a dividend. And so that dividend does become taxable, unless you can get it to become a qualified dividend. And there's some rules and some eligibility that you have to make sure that you look into in order for it to be a qualified dividend. But then that qualified dividend can move over to those long-term capital gain tax rates. Again, tax efficiency. The next thing that you might do is choose tax-efficient bonds. It doesn't just have to be with stocks. You might get a muni bond, otherwise known as a municipal bond. Maybe an I bond. Those were super hot this year and last year because of the interest rates and the inflation rate. You might get some U.S. Treasuries. And so when you're using those, the only thing you have to be careful of is do the math between the rates. For example, let's say that you have a municipal bond it's yielding 2%, and you're in the 35% tax bracket. That would give you an after-tax yield of about 3.8%, 3.08% rather. Now, what you want to do is then compare that to what bonds are just paying in these taxable, because you could find that, yeah, it sounds cool that your muni bond it might be saving some taxes, but at the end of the day, if the yield isn't better on an after-tax standpoint, then let's go get the better return. If you wanted to summarize all of that, then the previous 5 points, then what I would be able to do that is what your asset allocation is when it comes to your different accounts. If you have tax efficient strategies, maybe those are better for your IRAs, your 401ks, your Roth IRAs. Tax efficient strategies in this taxable account would help you understand your tax allocations, your asset allocations, and could be a more effective way for you to save taxes not only in the year of, but in subsequent years. The next thing is to talk about maybe what a charitable trust might look like. You know, if you want to donate some of these appreciated assets to a trust, a charitable trust, there's a couple different options, and that could give you not only the tax help on the year of contribution, but also has some rules on distributions. And so that, if that's of interest, definitely reach out and we can help you with that. And then finally, the tax loss harvesting, where sometimes we want to sell those underperforming assets in order to realize that gain and bring that into our tax account. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out at any time for a long-term tax plan. Have a great day.